and welcome to the Taco Cast. I'm Crystal.
I'm Will.
And these are our guests. That is Billy.
And there's a dog. This is Dawn. This is Tim.
Hello.
Today we are going to be talking about how not to raise spoiled brats. Part 2. How do you not raise a spoiled brat?
Why are you looking at me?
Well,
I
figured I'd ask you, since you're the co-host of this, why don't you tell us how not to raise a spoiled brat? What is your take?
Well, last time when we did this, we went over the theory of parenting and the major parenting styles as typically used in modern psychology when discussing parenting and parenting issues. The lackadaisical, uninterested parent, the completely uninvolved parent, the authoritative parent, and the authoritarian parent. I'm going to get all those mixed up like I do all the time. Basically, it's the person who doesn't let the kid do anything at all. The parent who takes their kids' wants and needs and feelings into consideration and then discusses decisions with them. Sometimes gives them what they want and sometimes doesn't. The parent who pretty much lets their kid do whatever they want. And the parent who's flat doesn't give a fuck about their kid and just lets their kid run off and be feral. So those are the 4 major parenting styles. Most experts agree that the medium range is, of course, keeping your children involved because they're the one being raised. Basically not being too stringent, not being too lenient. And that medium ground can be different for every family.
Okay.
So there's a good synopsis of our last episode. But everybody parents differently. Men typically, not always, that we're talking in typicals, men typically parent different than women do. Oddly enough, men tend to have a little less restrictions on their offspring than women tend to. I know that you're giving me that look because I let the baby do everything he wants and you're the one who has the rules. That's why I said typically men allow their children to take more risks than physical risks. As a general rule, if you're out on the playground, the moms are the ones who are like, "Hey, don't go too high, Timmy," and the dads are the ones who are like, "Fuck yeah, Timmy, can you go higher? Try jumping." And those are both very different, but they're also still both very valid. And personally, I think it's good for children to see both of those because it not only lets their children know that everybody's different, but it also establishes for children that your parents have different expectations and that sometimes your mommy is wrong. And sometimes also your daddy is wrong.
I'm never wrong. Never wrong.
And to be fair, those different parenting styles aren't just male, female, dichotomy. Like, the same-sex parents often have that same. There's one parent who's more lenient. There's one parent who's, but when you're talking straight gender-defined, typically men are more lenient with physical risk with their kids. Typically women are a little bit more rigid on not letting their kids jump off the swing set.
Okay.
He's giving me this face because Tiny Man's new game is climb up on the table, couch, chair, whatever, and then launch himself at me because he thinks that's hilarious. That's not my favorite game. It's really low on my list of favorite games. I like the snuggle game where he gets in my lap and he's all cute. And I'm like, oh, I love you too. But I don't get the snuggle game. I get the mommy catch. So.
Billy doesn't like that game either.
Apparently not.
She's barking at herself in the mirror.
Yes. So, what's your take? How do you raise your kids to not be brats?
Are they brats?
I said not brats.
Your children. I already raised them.
Are they brats?
Nope.
How did you do that?
Pretty much medium parents.
Stayed in the middle.
I was very involved, but yeah, I stayed in the middle. I let them make decisions, and I.
What if they make mistakes today?
I beat them.
All right. So now you've gone to this side. You were in the middle. Now you're like, the needle has definitely changed sides.
No, but they're adults, so whatever they do, it's on them. I'm just there to support them and Just let them know that, you screwed up, so now what are the consequences, and deal with them.
But what about when they're younger?
Same thing. They hurt themselves. Well, we know not to do that. Let's go fix that owie and move on.
Failure is an important part of growing up.
My son, when I was teaching our dog not to jump up on the counters, I put mouse traps on the counters. So the dog sniffs it or gets too close and it snaps and it scares them so they don't get on the counter. I told the kids, don't touch the counters, let's go to bed. Vika went into the kitchen, touched one of them, screamed ow. We go running in the kitchen and he said, I just wanted to see what it would do.
Oh, okay.
So consequences is he learned that it was painful, and when mom says don't do something because it's not gonna hurt, it's not gonna feel good, he knew I was right.
Would you say that there was a point when you were raising your children that you were more involved? I guess what I'm looking for is, do you feel like you were more involved as a disciplinarian or the nurturing side of it?
I was all of it.
So you just stayed in the middle.
Yeah, no, I had to.
Now you want to beat them.
Because they're adults and it's just funny to say it. But I would say it even when they were younger, I'm going to beat you, but I really never did. No, I'm the parent that did everything. I had to. I was the involved parent. Like, I was responsible for everything and anything they did.
Were you a helicopter mom?
No, that's not what I mean by everything. I mean, I made sure their homework got done. If their grades were bad, I had to discipline them. If their grades were good, they got rewarded. That's great. If they got hurt, I was the one that took care of them. So I had to do it all.
Yeah. So do you believe in corporal punishment? No? Yes? No? Maybe? It depends on the situation.
Give me a situation.
Your son decided to pour gasoline over his friend's head and set him on fire.
Okay, why is that where you went? Because that's not a situation where punishment is going to be appropriate. Because that is typically a sign of something going.
He said corporal punishment.
Now, here's the thing. First, I'm going to say, why'd you do that? And depending on what my son has to say on how I'm going to react to the situation. I mean, maybe the dude was a child molester. Maybe he raped a girl.
Friend?
Maybe he did. You never know who your friends truly are. Maybe he...
I know what all my friends do.
So if it's... I don't think my son should be punished for something like that.
I think Dawn brings up a really good point, is that you don't know why a kid did something unless you
talk to them
about it.
And actually, that's a really good point.
Do you really want to talk to him about it, though?
Well,
yes.
Yeah, because it helps
there's
the
a reason.
cortex develop, and they
especially
learn from their actions.
My kids being adults now, and I know there's nothing psychologically wrong with them.
Hun, why'd you use air quotes for that?
Yeah.
I know there's nothing wrong with
Nothing
them.
wrong with them.
Hun?
So far, I don't know
I'm
there's
not sure
nothing
what the
wrong
right
with
one
them.
is.
No, you know what? You've raised really good kids.
Right.
I
So
adore your
if
children.
they do something, my first thing has always been, why did you do that? I'm going to listen to your reason and get the whole story before I pass judgment on you. Because they're pretty good at telling me the truth, but I can spot a lie too. Plus, if everybody's story is consistent on the main parts, then you know what happened was true. There's a way of comparing stories and picking out what really happened from everybody's story.
And that establishes a strong bond with kids too. And if
I've always been like
parents
that
who
with my
go
kids.
straight to physical discipline typically don't have a really big strong bond with their kids. Their kids learn how to avoid their parents more than their kids learn that they can go to their parents and discuss them. Not saying that it doesn't necessarily have a place, which is a controversial point of view. Frankly, I'm of the opinion that if your child is too young to understand having a discussion, she keeps barking at herself.
She's looking in the mirror, barking at the other dog.
If there's something life threatening, your kid running out in the street, and your kid's too young to walk through that thought process. Timmy, why did you run through this? Okay, this is why we don't. you know, Timmy. Tim.
I know.
Did Timmy run out into the street?
If your kid is too young to have that conversation with, but it's something that could end their life if they did, well, what do you as a parent do? You know, a lot of people are really popular with the, oh, just remove them from the situation. Well, situations are always going to come up.
Yeah,
You're not
they
always
need to learn
going
how
to
to
be
deal
there.
with the situation.
Yeah.
Not run away from it. Knock it off.
Well, there's
All
another
right,
dog.
well, now on to you.
On to me.
How did you not raise spoiled brats?
I basically was one of those in the middle parents where I did have to do everything. I moved my kids away from their mom when they were 5 and 7, and moved to Montana, and I made sure that they did everything they were supposed to do over there. They did get in trouble. They did get hurt. They did all the things that happened, but you handle it, and you just make sure they understand the situation at the time. Don't ride your bike and try to do a jump, and if you don't make it, don't come running to me crying because
It's really important for them to learn that there's consequences,
there's consequences
to their actions.
exactly. So
Yeah, and they have to face them.
so that's what I did. So and then
Did
As
Timmy
they got
run
old-
into traffic?
no, I didn't run into traffic.
Oh. Well, that came up.
He
So.
would have rode his bike in traffic.
Oddly enough, when I'm talking about kids, my default names is usually Timmy. Little Timmy.
And I have a son named Timmy.
Yeah, that's what I asked. He's like, He's like, why are you picking on Timmy?
My
But
son, what's up?
as they got a little bit older, obviously, my son had moved to California, but my daughter stayed with me, and we ran into some problems later in life. When she got to be about 13, she got involved in drugs, ended up paying a lot of consequences for that. And I did not back her. I mean, the thing is, I was always there for her, but if she had to go to juvie or if she had to go to jail, I wasn't going to try and bail her out, and I wasn't going to try and help her out in that aspect. She did the time. She did that, do her thing. And now she's a better person for it. But she learned from her mistakes, and we're still hoping she's learning. But she's 26 now, so you hope.
Yeah, life is a learning experience, though. I know people that are in their 50s who still haven't
Same
learned.
Stop,
thing.
Billy.
Yeah, same thing.
Well, is there a scary dog over there that looks just like you?
In the mirror.
It's like,
I
why
didn't
is
even
it
think
my
about
mom
the
sitting
fact
in
that
this
there's a
chair?
mirror right there by the door out of here. I'm like, well, you know what? That's probably why Lucky doesn't want to come in here.
I've
There's
had
a
that
mirror.
since I was 13.
Huh?
I've had that mirror since I was 13. Erin gave it to me.
Oh, well, that mirror's still here.
Yeah.
It's right over there.
Just take a picture of it and send it to her. Hey, look what I still got. So, how do you think that this, keeping in mind, something I was actually talking to your son about earlier is how, for us older generations, the world that we grew up in and even the world we raised our kids in doesn't exist anymore. The world constantly changes. So, how do you think parents should adjust for a world that is increasingly ever interconnected?
That's hard. I mean, the explosion of social media, and how it interferes in everyone's lives and is taken over. It's everywhere you go.
And it's a very integral part of life nowadays, to the fact that if you removing a child from social media when they get to the age to where they join it can have a serious stunting effect on their relationships with their peers. So how do you think parents balance that with the fact that it's basically it's here to stay, and it's part of life, and it's part of their peer life?
That's interesting because my 3, even my youngest, they're not really into social media. They
A
don't.
lot more is social media than people think. Pinterest.
But no, they don't.
Yeah, Pinterest,
Right, that's
game
not.
sites.
The older 2 are on the game sites, yes. They all have Facebook, but they don't use it hardly ever at all. And they get annoyed whenever I tag them in anything. So sometimes I do it just to be funny. Like, hello!
Well, the reason why I brought up the internet is the internet brings in the good and the bad, all the evil that is out there that can lead your children astray, or even
Well, as a
Yes.
parent, so when mine were younger, I would monitor it. They couldn't be on it or have any kind of social media without me having the password and the username and I could check it whenever I want. So I could make sure, and I set the privacy settings, and they weren't allowed to talk to anybody or friend anybody without my permission. So I basically, what do you call it? I oversaw it. But they don't really use it a lot at all. The youngest one's kind of using it a little bit more. But we have family and friends that live all over the world. So that was the one thing I wanted them to be able to keep in contact with their family, which is why we even have Facebook.
Social media is amazing for connecting people. I've got friends in the UK. I've got friends in Australia. Women that I have never met in person, but that we've met in moms groups and stuff like that. We've gotten to know each other over the years. We have family in the UK that social media helps us keep up with. It's frankly, I think it's amazing. I think the benefits well outweigh the problems.
I
And
think
hell,
as parents, we just like everything else in life. We just have to help guide them to doing it the right, not necessarily because there's no right or wrong way, but just do it in a safe
well,
way.
and back to that, the world that we grew up in doesn't exist anymore. When we did stupid shit, and we've all done stupid shit.
Yep, we
Not me.
have.
Well, you did stupid shit. But when we did
Not
stupid
today.
shit when we were younger, maybe our parents knew about it, maybe some friends, maybe our siblings, but not the world.
Right.
Nowadays, if someone does stupid shit, that can follow them forever. It's not something any of us ever had to worry about. And there's plenty of times that people do things that are stupid, sometimes probably even downright cruel, because kids are stupid and very self-centered. But you grow. You're a kid. Being a kid is for doing stupid shit. And ideally you grow as an adult and you're like, wow, that was awful. I'm glad I've learned and I'm better. Nowadays people can't really overcome that. That's there forever.
Well, at the same time, though, the internet, when we were younger, well, not you, honey, I mean, because you're so young. But when
Tell me more.
Yeah, I know, right? But you didn't get the internet until what, you were in college?
Fucking asshole.
Right. Because you're our younger sister's age.
So I mean, I'm just saying. So when you got to college, that's when the internet came out. But yeah,
He's such an ass.
you couldn't.
I had the internet when I was in high school, teacher.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know
It was
that.
her senior year, right before college.
Oh, okay. So back to the point though that I was trying to make is when it comes to if you did something wrong or if there was somebody in your class who didn't like you in school, they couldn't go on and then attack you later on the internet, where that happens a lot these days. And I mean, I've read horror stories about teenage girls who have gone to extremes to get back at someone on the internet, and it's just like it's endless of what they will do.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're getting bullied at school, they're getting bullied on the internet, and then these things are coming up years later when they're applying for a job because they fought back on the internet over it, what was happening to them. Because in context, there's no context there. They only see the one side of what was happening.
Yeah.
And now, when it comes to getting a job, and they look at your internet history to determine who they're going to give the job to. I mean, and they see from when you were in college in '96.
Again.
So in
The
96,
internet was around before '96, sir.
Oh, was it? Oh, I wasn't sure.
You forgot all the days blend together when you're 187.
Well, pretty much.
When you've been knocked in the head by your wife for insulting her or
I
something.
mean, when I went to school, it was uphill both ways. I ate dirt and I was proud.
Your homework was done by cuneiform?
Yeah, in front of candlelight, because we haven't had electricity yet. But there's the internet is got its good and its bad. So I'm just curious, how it affects the children today, because it's right there. even though they may not be using it or on it constantly, but it's still affecting their lives.
I would argue,
Or it's influencing their friends' lives, which then their friends are influencing them from
I
what they've
don't,
learned.
you know what though? I don't,
Billy, you're gonna be all right.
I don't think it's so much different from. I mean, it's a different platform, but I don't think it's so much different from what we all did, like with music. Like music artists influenced our lives.
Or that
And-
bitch that hated you would follow you down to the skate park when you're at the skate park and
Yeah,
mess with you. Yeah, she's still doing it, but she's doing it on Facebook.
yeah. I mean, I think it's still
She
happening,
wasn't
but
doing
it's
it on
just a different
MySpace?
platform.
No one goes to MySpace.
I still
I
have
don't know.
MySpace.
Somebody could be stalking me
Yeah.
on MySpace. I do still have my MySpace. It's just
I have one
exactly-
friend, Tom. Tom from MySpace, the founder.
Tom was good to us, and we.
I still have his
You
picture.
know, I haven't logged onto it in like a long time, and when I remember every now and then, and I go back and I check on it, and I'm just like, oh wow, I don't remember any of this.
But they sold it to Yahoo.
Oh, I don't.
I think it was Yahoo. MySpace sold out to Yahoo for like a gajillion dollars, and then they freaking
big
tanked.
time.
And he sold in a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, they got the hell out of that, and they had me laughing all the
They're
way.
like, oh, you want to give us how much? Oh, that sounds like I don't really. I mean,
Let us
I gotta
let us
think
think about
real
that.
hard about.
Fucking let's go. Because Facebook came out and just absolutely destroyed everything that was out there. But it's the way the world works, right? Moving forward. So, what else is there about how not to raise kids? Well, we decided that beating them is wrong.
I'm not to raise kids. That's a whole different story.
Yeah, just don't do it, and therefore you
Yeah,
never.
that
No,
was
if you
another
don't
option,
have
don't do it.
children, then you don't have to.
No, that's
Do
true.
it.
Our friends, John and Marilyn, have had no children. They get to buy stuff, go places,
Oh
enjoy
yeah,
life,
nice stuff.
and they don't have any children who are brats. So that sounds like winning.
So not having children, that way you don't raise any brats.
Mhm.
Well, that sounds like a good.
They
good
had a
It'll
point.
probably be
practice.
the end of the world as we know it after this because nobody has any kids. We're pretty much going to die out.
But I mean, do we need
No.
to stick around as a species? Have we brought value to the planet? I'm leaning towards no, but I could be persuaded
if
otherwise.
humans weren't here to destroy it, something else would have been.
Would it though?
Yeah, because the dinosaurs destroyed it before us.
No.
No.
Or was it? They were.
I've seen Land of the Lost.
That's not
Those
what I mean.
dinosaurs were mean.
No, I know it was something else that destroyed the dinosaurs, but they would have because of how much they eat.
It was aliens.
Well, yeah.
I saw
but-
Land of the Lost. There
I
were
mean, they
green
were taking
aliens.
you know, this
Ancient
whole
aliens.
They're
global-
Sleaze-lax.
It's
Sleaze-lax.
the same.
Yeah.
The same
Tips in it too.
thing with other.
They have no
other
idea what
species.
we're talking about.
You've
But that's
got
my point. is
yeah,
they
they'll-
were overpopulating, but they were.
they'll overeat, but then they'll die back. The
Mm.
issue with humans is that we're the single most successful invasive species on the planet Earth.
Yeah, we talked about that the other
Are
day.
And
we?
we are.
We are.
We're going to pollute ourselves out of existence.
We
We're
are
going
in
No, I think we're gonna end up on
every-
Mars
we are
before
in
that.
to,
every climate. I'm trying like, what are words? We're in every climate. We're in the fucking oceans. We're in the fucking Arctic. We're in the heat. We're in the we are everywhere. We're in the fucking Alps. We're like, there's no oxygen. Fuck it. I got a tank. We are a very successful invasive species. A lot of other invasive species, they're like, oh, this is pretty close to where I live. I could live here. But we're like, what's that? Literally nothing grows here? I do. We're a very successful species that way, which is part of why there's so many of us.
So what does that have to do with parenting?
What does that have to do with parenting? It doesn't. Nothing. It has to do with do we
She
bring
does this a lot.
do we bring value to the planet?
Oh, okay.
Could be argued, yes. You know, maybe we don't need spotted owls. Maybe spotted owls were going to destroy the world. We don't know.
I think they are. I think
Take them out before they can take us out.
Maybe they're the problem.
I was joking, by the way. I like spotted owls. I like all owls. Owls are
they're
amazing.
tasty.
They're not tasty.
Oh
we
my
don't
god,
eat cute
you don't
things.
eat those.
The little ones are better.
We oh,
So
we don't eat
don't
cute
look in
things.
the freezer.
There better not be an owl in that freezer.
Oh, well, I got him from a nice big tree in Oregon, from a forest.
Do you know they've got owls in
Isn't
Canada
that
that get up to
illegal?
3 feet tall?
Yeah, the
Those are
great
penguins.
snow owl. They've actually been
Snow
doing
owl.
this. No, the great
Those
snow owl. they've actually been seen as far down into the states as Bellingham, and they are massive. You know, because when you put their wingspan together and everything else for an owl,
They're a really big
wow.
bird. Years ago,
And snow owl is a misnomer. They're not completely white. Some of them are, but
yeah,
not most.
I was talking to
They're brown.
Grandpa. He lived in Idaho, and I was talking to Grandpa. I know, right? You're so surprised. And he tells me that he got up and he thought Elizabeth was playing out in the driveway, and he went out to go yell at her. And you know how Grandpa would just every delivery was like completely calm, regardless of who he was talking about. And he's like, "Yeah, so I thought Elizabeth was out in the driveway, and I went out to go yell at her. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, but it wasn't Elizabeth, big ass bird." And I'm like, "How did you mistake a bird for your grandchild?" Man, bird's about yay high. And I'm like, "There's no birds that are that yay high, right?" There are, in fact, birds that are that yay high. The Canadian snow owl, and
Yeah.
one of them was just hanging out in my grandpa's driveway. But yeah, just completely different, big ass bird.
That's awesome.
Big ass
I want one. Not to eat.
We don't eat cute
Don't.
things.
Don't
Look in the
open your
freezer.
tree Christmas present.
You're so full of
So
shit.
how was dinner tonight? Did you like it?
Turkeys
Yes,
are
the
cute.
turkey was
That's why
delicious.
you-
Oh,
eat
that
them.
was a turkey.
Yeah, because they sell owls at Fred Meyer.
But you don't know where that owl came from. Just because I left and I came back with a bird.
I do not believe that you would catch an owl.
Nope.
No, I have friends who do that for me.
Oh, okay. Because I've seen owls. They're crafty fuckers.
Well, they're not so crafty once they lose their heads.
It's true.
Just saying.
Pretty much goes for anything.
Okay, we are way off topic. We're raising children.
Mhm.
Don't beat your kids.
No.
Be in the middle.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
Yes.
Don't eat owls. And what was the other thing that we decided on?
We're an invasive species.
Oh, yeah,
Successful.
we're successful
The
invasive
single
species.
most successful invasive species.
Well, I can't wait until we start screwing up the other plants in our.
What are you talking about, man? We're already in the moon.
Wow.
Not
We
quite
haven't
yet.
colonized it yet. Well, as soon as we get a colonize, and colonize it, and then we can go from there. And then we leap off to other places.
There's only like 3 places.
I
we
got a
could
really
possibly-
strong feeling that if we get on the moon before anybody else, that somebody else is gonna like nuke the moon.
Well,
That's just gonna
I mean,
be.
I would say no, but in addition to being a really successful invasive species, humans are both fucking brilliant and fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And somebody probably would.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Fuck the tides!" No, blow up the moon. Somebody probably would fucking try and do that. The moon tidal influence.
So, yeah, I got that.
Hence raising children.
And raising children.
Yes.
It all comes back around to the kids.
Comes back around.
So someone's kid is going to blow up the moon
Well,
Yes.
yeah.
More
because they weren't in the middle.
That's probably going to
That's
be Kim
probably
Jong-un.
true, too. They were probably raised by very strict parents who only saw black and white and do not understand the gray.
There's gray.
That's Kim Jong-un because they don't have color in North Korea because that comedian.
Yeah.
All the videos are black and white because they don't have color.
Okay. Well, I think we've touched on everything that we need to. Anything else? That you guys like to add?
The coffee was good, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Coffee was good.
Beer's good.
Yep, beer's great. Beer's
No,
great.
no.
I'm still waiting on that
The
scotch.
beer is not great. The beer that these gentlemen bring,
I said it was
I don't
good.
know where
I
the
said it was
camera's
good.
at. The beer that these gentlemen bring is not good. This is not good beer. This is bad beer.
That's your own personal opinion.
My
No, she's
opinion is
right.
correct.
I agree.
This is my golf beer.
Now, and we don't agree on beer, what's good beer, but we do agree on theirs is not good.
Wow.
The Coco Jones is good.
Is that
Well,
the
I think we
coffee?
go offer their
The-
kids beer.
Is that the one that I got?
That's racist
Yeah,
accordingly.
with the raven on the front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're
that's
all
good
over
beer.
21.
Right?
We can go offer them all beer now.
They're not all over
They're
21.
not all over 21.
Tiny Man is 4.
We're not talking about
Vico's-
Tiny Man.
He
Vico's-
gets, he gets root beer.
And he likes,
That's
why
Sam
they're-
Adams and shit
no,
like
well,
that.
The Tiny Man will take any open beverage and dump it into his potty chair.
Yes, like he did.
If
with
you
my-
leave an open beverage out in my home, he will upend it into his potty chair, and then he will expect you to clap and high five him, just like you do when he pees in the toilet.
Yeah.
And he can, if
My-
you don't, he'll
Tim,
get
my
mad.
son is only 20.
Was he?
Yes. I only have one child that is over 21.
Okay.
She
You do?
left.
Which one?
The oldest.
Yeah.
The
How
firstborn.
many do you have?
Hey, can I smack him?
No. Your mother said you can't do that.
Mother used to let us fist fight it out. She didn't step in.
That's true.
That's a whole parenting thing there. We should have mom in here.
Oh, hell no.
Oh,
no.
no.
Nope.
Let's see how that goes.
No.
Come on now.
No.
I want to see
No.
that. I
No.
personally want to see that train wreck.
No.
No.
I mean, it'd be nice to watch, but I don't think that's something we need to immortalize forever.
No.
No.
We need to save the fans.
All
from
right.
that.
Well, let's end it. End this episode.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Where's the camera again? There's the camera.
Right
Thank you,
there.
everyone, for joining us on this lovely Sunday insert time period, which Will has this uploaded here.
I can't squeeze. Can you make your arms and hands a little bit wider?
What were you saying just now?
All right. Bye. Say goodbye,
Bye.
everyone. That's it.